Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Truth and Power with Pinaki. I'm Rafa Nanziba. Tonight's conversation promises to be sharp and thought provoking. We are once again joined by one of Bangladesh's most prominent and fearless voices, Pinaki Bhattacharya. Tonight's topic: why has BNP, once a major political force, become little more than a joke? Pinaki, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Rafa. Always a pleasure to be here.
Let's get right into it. Many people feel BNP is no longer taken seriously. What went so wrong?
It's not sudden, Rafa. BNP's decline has been a long time coming. Even during the Hasina Must Go movement, a visible gap formed between BNP and the broader coalition. And it was not without reason. They have had a deep rooted problems for years. That's why, even as the country's largest political party, they failed to lead the anti Hasina struggle.
What do you think was BNP's biggest strategic mistake?
Their biggest error was mispositioning Ziaur Rahman. In marketing terms, positioning means creating a distinct identity for a product in the customer's mind. Politicians and parties must do the same. Awami League positioned Sheikh Mujib as the undisputed leader of independence. BNP could never position Zia correctly. He was not and could never be seen as the main face of independence like Mujib. Instead, BNP should have positioned Zia as the reluctant revolutionary leader, November 7 revolution, much like Professor Yunus today.
That's an interesting point. Why do you think BNP never embraced the November Revolution properly?
They're scared. BNP intellectuals, its leadership, they fear very word revolution. They tried to detach Jia from November 7, denying his true political origin story. By doing so, they lost a powerful narrative. The people's uprising, the reluctant hero, Socratic leadership at its finest.
Well, you also mentioned BNP lacks a clear political narrative today. Can you explain that?
Absolutely. Every political party needs a narrative, a coherent story explaining who they are and why do they exist. Awami League says its fight for Bengali nationalism and ties that to the liberation war. Even people who don't vote Awami League often accept the narrative. BNP, however, have no clear story. Ask a BNP leader, why do you stand for? You will get confused answers, if not, if any at all.
So you're saying it's not just strategy, it's a collapse of identity.
Exactly. BNP's crisis is existential. They try to cling to Arm League's version of the liberation war narrative. But if you are telling the same story as your opponent, why should people support you? BNP needs a new, bold narrative, not a reheated army leftovers.
You bring in a much deeper historical context too, touching on land ownership, religion, and the evolution of identity in Bengal. How is that tied to BNP's situation?
Because history explains why our political narratives are so fractured. This land story is one of exploitation. The first by Hindu Jamidas during British rule, then by elites who saw Muslims as second class citizens. Movements like Faraizi movement, Fakir uprising were about dignity, about survival. And Islam became a vehicle for justice, not just a personal faith. BNP fails to understand this. They don't realize that the political heart of Bangladesh isn't secularism versus religion, it's dignity versus domination.
In your view, has BNP completely surrendered to the same elite narratives they once opposed?
Sadly, yes. Today's BNP sounds like a bad copy of Amlik 1972's dream. They run to Indian embassies, they negotiate behind closed doors. Meanwhile, they have abandoned their people who were ready to carry them on their shoulders. And when you betray your base, you become a joke, a party of We call it tempo stand, extortionist, not revolutionaries.
You've been very critical of how BNP leaders engage online too. Could you explain that?
It's pathetic, honestly. BNP's so called narratives in online, like online warriors, their online front, they don't often offer vision or ideas. All they know is to shout al badr or al butter, they say, mindless name calling. Ask them a serious political question, they collapse within 2 minutes. They can't build a movement with emotional blackmail and cheap slogans.
Pinaki, if you had to sum up BNP's main failure in one line, what would it be?
It's very simple. They have no political product to sell. No vision, no story, no ideology. They're just another corrupt, clueless faction fighting for scraps.
Finally, do you see any hope for BNP? Any path forward?
Only if they undergo a radical transformation. They must break from the army framework, build their own historical narratives, reconnect with dignity and dreams of the people. If they don't, they will vanish. And frankly, Rafa, many people won't even miss them.
Hard truths, Pinaki, tonight. Thank you for your honesty and depth. To our viewers, understanding where we come from is the only way to chart where we are going. Stay aware, stay courageous, and keep questioning. This has been Truth and Power with Pinaki. Good night.